Habit 2 of the 7 habits of highly effective people. Now, in habit 1, we learned about being proactive, that we are the programmer. Habit 2 tells us to begin with the end in mind. Instead of beginning at the beginning and moving forward, it's to think about the entirety, the forest. Instead of the trees, think about the end of our lives and move backwards to see what kind of person do we want to be able to write the programmer. Habit 1 is that we are the programmer, that it's not the church or school, our parents, our employer, our gurus, whoever it is. It's not them. We can let it be them, or we can take and be proactive and be the programmer for our own lives. The antithesis of this is Tony Soprano's mother. I don't know if you remember this series from now it's over 10 years ago. But she basically summed up life as it's all a big nothing. And for her, it was a big nothing. She was married to a mobster, had 2 kids. One turned out terrible. The other one was a mobster. And she felt alone and neglected and really was so negative and didn't really embrace life at all. Kept waiting for it to do something for her instead of her doing something to make it. And unfortunately, we see a lot of this, and it's kind of tragic that she gets to the end of her life and she sees it as a big nothing. And habit 2, what we find is people tend to center their lives on one of several things instead of principles. And this is the point that Stephen Covey really tries to focus on, is to, instead of focusing on being focused on work, yourself, your church, your spouse, your family, your money, possessions, pleasure, enemies, or friends, is that they all have elements of the life. But what you want to do is kind of think about what the principles are. And that's your life. This podcast and this series of videos is really about sales. Instead of thinking about what everyone tells us to do, make a certain number of calls, emails, connections, face-to-face meetings. That's thinking forward and moving forward. And what we're forgetting about is what the real outcome that we want. And what we tend to do is fall back on the real outcome that we want is money. And that's sales, and that's really the system. And there's nothing wrong with it. It's just that there might be something better than it that actually gets you more money, which is pretty good. Yeah. What we really want, in most cases, is our customers doing our marketing and our selling for us, where we get them so successful and happy with us, our company, our product or service, that they go and talk to other people. This elusive word of mouth advertising that we all want. And this is the real outcome that I think we want, because once we get this, our job becomes easier and we get more of this, which is good. And Steve Jobs kind of has a great quote about this. It has stuck with me for years, because all his competitors do just the opposite. What do you see? You see, longer battery life, thinner, cheaper. But is that really what the customer wants? What the customer wants is the experience of the product. How does the product make them feel? How does the product get their work done for them? It just works strategy that has slipped a little in the last few years, but the idea is still right on, is that you focus on what is the customer experience that you want and work backwards to the product instead of trying to figure out what do you want to sell them. If this all makes sense to you, check out the podcast, The Brutal Truth About Sales and Selling, on iTunes and Stitcher Radio. If you like this, please like it, comment, share it, and subscribe. Thanks for watching.